Well, folks, good evening to you one and all, and welcome to Season 14. Who could have thought when we started with this that we would be into 14 seasons of racing? And our new sponsor for Season 14, Induction Noise. A big thanks to Induction Noise for joining up with us. Tonight we are at Navarra, where we do battle in the Radical SR8. It's going to be something else. But what I can tell you is that we've got the likes of Sandro Beccari, Leonardo Beccari, Willem Botha. Guess what? In a green car, JJ van der Merwe. Leon van Wyk in the being IT entry. Mr. Gerald Fourie and South African Airways Luke Lucchese in the red Momo colors. So our frequent flyer is right up top. In fact, Gerald Fourie and Luke Lucchese is going to be a close fought battle. That is for sure. There's very little between them, as Luke Lucchese just goes a smidgen quicker out there, just a little. Nothing you'd notice if you didn't look at the board. But it's going to be interesting stuff to see how this one is going to play itself out. We've lost a number of drivers, people that's involved with the Samola Hill climb, that are there at the Samola Hill climb. So, yeah, that's going to cost us a good couple of entries today. So we're just about at the end of our quali session. It's going to be interesting to the nth degree to see how this one is going to play itself out. Once we've had a chance to have a look at the grid, well, the grid becomes available to us. So a very limited grid with so many of our people being involved in the premier motorsport event this weekend, Samola Hill Climb, the 15th running of the Samola Hill Climb. And, well, that's the kind of level of sport that our guys do. So, front row, Luke Lucchese, Gerald Fourie, who's going to get the whole shot. Leon van Wyk from Willem Botha, JJ van der Merwe from Sandro, and Leonardo Beccari. We know Peter van der Spey out there, as he's one of the people that is on his way on a, as he refers to, the cannonball run. I think it's a lot of guys with Ferraris that are on their way already up to that side of the world. So for those of you who just arrived, we're at Circuit Navarra, where we do battle in the Radical SR8. That is what we're going to be doing this evening. Let's get a track map up. We can see exactly where we're at. And let's have a look at that front end of the field as they work their way around. Not that much between the front guys, between Luke Lucchese and Gerald Fourie. But you can expect Leon van Wyk to be right in there as well. Unless Luke Lucchese or Gerald gets away phenomenally quicker than the other, I don't believe there'll be more than a car's length between the two of them. They will probably draw along with them Leon van Wyk, but I think the rest of the guys are going to struggle a little to be able to hold on to that pace for an extended period of time, let's put it that way. Luke Lucchese and Gerald Fourie, here we go, off the line, and straight away Willem Botha sticks his nose in. Let's hope they don't make contact. Willem Botha, he spreads them wide open. It's Luke Lucchese that takes the whole shot. It's Leon van Wyk on that inside line. It's JJ van der Merwe that's got it ahead there now as well of Gerald Fourie. Gerald Fourie in that fourth position, cuts towards the inside, hoping that Leon would leave a little bit of space there for him. Finds himself in behind Leon van Wyk, ahead of JJ van der Merwe. Luke Lekizi that leads out. Behind that is Willem Botha. Now, I've seen Willem have a good couple of spins during the practice and qualifying side of it. So he is definitely tantamount to pushing it to the limit. Look how close they are towards one another. Willem Botha dives out on the inside, closes up behind Luke Lekizi, goes to that inside line, a little nibble on Luke Lekizi's back bumper. Gerald runs it wide, cuts the apex late and tight. Now tries to go for that inside line cutback on Leon, but just not close enough to stick it in there. JJ van der Merwe holding on pretty well. I must say I'm very impressed with Willem Botha as opposed to what... Oopsie, Gerald Fourie, I think he climbed the brakes just a little bit too hard to make sure he doesn't touch onto the back of Leon van Wyk. And with that, he goes and turns himself around. So, the battle that we expected, Luke Lekizi, Gerald Fourie, with a close in attendance, Leon van Wyk, turns out to be a Luke Lekizi, Willem Botha, Leon van Wyk, with a gap back to JJ. And then the next man coming through will be Leonardo Bakari, and then Sandro Bakari. And I see Gerald Fourie has gone into the pits. Looks like he's going to pull up to his marker now. Let's just see how long it feels when you're standing there in the pits. You sit there and you sit and you wait and you look. And you look at the map on the right hand side and you see the guys just driving further and further away. And you're still sitting in the car. Eventually it drops you on the deck. Wait for the blend line. Bury the accelerator, run it through third gear, fourth gear. Make sure that you're inside that blend line of the pit exit. Whoopsie. Trying to get going just a little bit too quick. There's Gerald. Yeah. Hooks up that second gear and gets it going again. But he now finds himself having lost quite a bit of ground. Can Gerald Fourie make up a couple of positions before the end of this race? It's not simplistically impossible for Gerald. For anybody else it would be impossible, but not for Gerald Fourie. So Luke Lekizi leads them through. It's Willem Botha. Leon van Wyk right in there, but Willem Botha's doing a lovely job. Based on what I'd seen for the practice and quali, I would not have expected Willem to be up there and not making any mistakes. He's just there in the game. And to be ahead of Leon van Wyk, you got to go some. To be in sight of Luke Lekizi, you got to be real on it. There you see Willem Botha using the whole track and a little bit more, but Luke Lekizi is right there with him, or should I say Leon van Wyk is right there with him. Let's see what that looks like. Picking up a lot of dirt and stones from the car in front, the aerodynamic effects, picking up whatever junk there is laying on the track. Short changing it, going in there, holds it in second. Doesn't go down to first gear, less chance of inducing wheel spin like that. Oh, Willem's on the ragged edge, and Leon's giving nothing away whatsoever. Climbs on the gas nice and quickly coming out of the corner. No lift off there at all over that blind rise. Can't see the apex initially. Whoopsie, making a bit of contact. Waits, lets Willem get going again, and then continues from there. So that's the style of racing that we do, where if something goes wrong, we just back out, give the guys an opportunity, and make sure that it stays in the same order. So kudos there to Leon van Wyk, having made that contact with Willem Botha, backing out of it, letting Willem get going again first of all, and then climbing on the gas directly after that, but not waiting too long, because JJ van der Merwe was not that far behind at that point. So that has allowed Luke Lukisi to get a 3.9 second gap. But Willem Botha, man, what a drive. Leon doesn't have an answer for him yet. And looking back from Leon's car, well, JJ's not that far out. JJ is really not that far out. He's there and thereabouts as well. See, the camera is set up just below the exhaust pipe. So with that fuel injection Radical SR8 motor, I think it's a Hayabusa motor that they run in these Radicals. When you lift off the gas, fuel pump and the injectors just keeps on pumping, and that's why you get that puff of flame as you gear it down. You can actually hear the sound, that poof. Apart from that sound that you're hearing there, that was the curbstones as such. So Luke Lukisi's gone into the pits. Luke Lukisi stops in the pits. Now the lead man is Willem Botha. Willem Botha has gone through. Leon van Wyk in there behind him. JJ's getting closer. JJ is getting closer. The last lap, JJ van der Merwe did a 132.9. Leon did a 133.1, so it's 2/10, and a 33.3 from Willem. That is why visually you can see the difference with JJ van der Merwe. Let's see what it's like from JJ's point of view. Oopsie, our sound writing's a little bit in the way there. It's all good behind him, there's no problem there. Let's look over the other side wheel. Just holding on to those two in front of him. Nothing much in it for our leaders, Willem Botha and Leon van Wyk. Gerald Fourie still a long way back, but remember Gerald Fourie has been in and out of the pits, and in goes Leon van Wyk. So Leon van Wyk was feeling the pressure there, there's no doubt about it. Leon van Wyk was feeling that pressure, decided I'm not going to waste time with this battle with Willem. Let me rather go into the pits, do what I need to do, get out. We're 8 minutes in already. Get out of the pits and get some open ground in front of me. That is probably going to be the way to go in terms of a race strategy for Leon, as Leonardo goes through and Leon is on his way out of the pits. Luke Lukisi, I think, has just come through. Yep, Luke Lukisi's come through. There's Luke Lukisi, and then there is Leon van Wyk in and out of the pits. And then with the time that he lost, Gerald Fourie now coming up past that start-finish line. So they've all been in and out of the pits. Let's just get that up on screen. There we go. Luke Lukisi from Leon van Wyk. Let's go to intervals on that one. And there you can see 3 seconds between Leon van Wyk and Luke Lukisi. And then another 15 seconds from Gerald Fourie back from there. So the whole trick now goes about this man, Willem Botha. Ah, wow. JJ was right up behind Willem by that time when he went in. And okay, we see Leon van Wyk did have an off at one stage. To see, was it an incident? Ah, that is when he slowed down to let Willem go again. Lovely piece of driving there. So JJ van der Merwe has gone into the pits. Sandro Bakari has gone into the pits. Leonardo Bakari has gone into the pits. Where is Luke Lukisi? Luke Lukisi comes through. Leon van Wyk comes through. JJ van der Merwe comes out of the pits. That effectively puts him in third position. Sandro Bakari is coming out of the pits. And here comes Gerald Fourie. Sandro Bakari, Gerald Fourie. Sandro Bakari, Gerald Fourie carries good pace through there. Can he stick it into the first corner? No, just not enough. Just not enough for Gerald Ferry. So onto the back end of Sandro Bacardi. Oh, he has a look for that inside line very, very quickly. Gerald Ferry's made up his mind. He's on a flyer. He wants to get around Sandro as quick as possible because Sandro is still 13 seconds behind JJ, and that's a whole bunch of ground he's got to make up in 10 laps. Dives it up on the inside of Sandro. Sandro will say, you go, you're a master, I'm a grandmaster. Not my monkeys, not my circus. I'm not going to worry too much about that at this stage of the fight. So, Gerald Ferry is going online. Oh, Willem Botha's gone in. Willem Botha is into the pits. Now, let's have a look-see. There is Willem Botha, and where is Luklukizi? Let's get a different shot. Will give us a better idea. Willem Botha standing in the pits. There's Willem Botha. There is Luklukizi. I think Luklukizi is going to go to the front. It's Luklukizi. There's Willem Botha. What about Leon van Wyk? There goes Leon van Wyk. Is Leon going to get through as well ahead of Willem Botha? Yes, he does. And in close attendance, JJ van der Merwe. Lovely stuff. Beautiful. That is what it's all about. Really looking good. So we are 12 minutes into the 25 minutes race number 1, lap number 8 of 17. Our lead man is in fact Luklukizi. After the pit stops, Leon van Wyk, Willem Botha, JJ van der Merwe. Then having been involved in an incident right at the beginning is Gerald Ferry. 13.1. That is the number. Remember that, 13.1 and 9 laps. He's got to take literally 1.1 second out of JJ to get to his back wing on the last lap. Then you still haven't got past him either. So that's going to be kind of tight. That's going to be kind of very, very tight. That's a big ask. Gerald Ferry's last lap was a 132.35, which is 6 tenths quicker than JJ. So we'll see now when JJ comes across the line. He's done a 133.14. Gerald does a 132.2. So that's 9 tenths of a second, just short of a second on what he was looking for. Now, if you take 1 second, 10 laps, that's 10 laps at a second a lap, that gives you 10 seconds, and he's 12.5 off. So right now, Gerald Ferry needs this fight that you are seeing here to rage on and keep on raging on and keep on raging on, and they must slow one another down by about a half a second. That's all Gerald needs, about 5 tenths. Now JJ will be very aware of the fact that there's a hard charging Gerald Ferry that's down to 12 seconds behind him now. Remember, we started from 13.8. He's now down to 11.4. Oh, Gerald's closing big time on this lap. So Willem Botha might be the winning ticket. Not that it's going to go for a win, but Willem Botha might just be the winning ticket for Gerald Ferry at this stage of the fight, if he can make a massive battle out of that one. So JJ van der Merwe does a 133.41, and Gerald Ferry does a 132.2. That is exactly what he needs. 1.2 seconds. 1.2 seconds. That is exactly what Gerald needs. Now these two, well, they're all in the same Discord, so they might be saying to one another, listen guys, what are we going to do here? Because if Willem doesn't move it up, JJ is going to have to move it up Oh no! He puts it sideways all by himself. Willem Botha puts it sideways. And in the background, we're going to see Gerald Fourie comes into play. So that makes Willem Botha the first possible victim for Gerald Fourie, should he be able to keep up that kind of pace. Now remember, Willem has got open ground in front of him. Gerald Fourie has got open ground in front of him. So it's a straight one-on-one battle. That is what we're sitting with here now. Don't forget about that lead man in the Momo car, Luke Lekizi. Not exactly shaking off Leon van Wyk. JJ van der Merwe coming out into the front main, a 131.72. That was now done by Luke Lekizi. There comes Willem Botha. There comes Gerald Fourie. There's our super senior, Sandra Bakari. And then Leonardo. In the absence of Peter van der Spey, that's up at Samoa Hill Climb. Leonardo's going to jump a bunch of points there and make sure that he makes use of it. So what we really need to look at now is this battle. Gerald Fourie closing up on the back end of Willem Botha. I don't believe he's going to be able to go much further than this, because at the end of the day, Gerald Fourie, if he can get to and get past Willem Botha, there's still another 9 seconds in it to be able to get up to the back end of the next person, which is JJ. Now JJ's running some pretty decent times right now. Let's have a look at the last lap times as such. There you can see Gerald on the 32. That's really good. Willem on that 38. That means he lost 5 seconds with that spin. A 131.902 by our lead man. A 133.157 by Leon. A 132.6. So JJ quicker than Leon on the last lap. There you can see Willem Botha's time is a lot slower because of that incident that he had, and Gerald Fourie is desperately trying to get past there. We're in lap 12. There's a possible 5 laps to go after this, but that is basically it. Not too sure that he'll get any further forward. If he can, get past Willem Botha, trying his best not to make contact. Willem Botha is using the whole track and more. Is this the dive? Is this going to be the dive? No, it's not going to be. Trying to force Willem into a late braking maneuver there by making it look as if he is going to stay out there for the dive. Coming through the tight section now to that second tight left-hander. Now it's the past 90-degree right-hander. Brings you all the way back through the kink. Short shifting through the gears. Line it up nice and smooth, because you've got to carry it all the way out into the straight. Nah, I don't think he's close enough. I don't think Gerald Fourie is close enough. Is there enough slipstream in the Radical SR8 on this length straight to be able to go for the dive? I don't think so. Unless it takes it. No, it's not going to be able to happen. He's got to be closer than that, going into the straight to be able to make it happen. And Gerald's not going to give anything away for free at this stage of the fight. Luke Lekizi 6 seconds ahead of Leon van Wyk, who's another 5 ahead of JJ. A lovely drive, JJ van der Merwe. Awesome stuff. Willem Botha 10 seconds further back, and the recovering Gerald Fourie doing everything that he possibly can to get right in there. Sander Bakari just 5 seconds behind these two. So getting to Willem Botha was one thing. getting past Willem Boort is another. Now, I think that Gerald Fourie is probably going to rethink this one to make sure that when they come out into the front main, that at that point he's as close as what he possibly can be, and then look at that slipstream to see what can happen from there. Still quite a distance back. Luke Lacuzzi putting up the fastest lap on this lap. He's just done now. Now under brakes. Can he pull it in nice and neat? He's no closer this time than what he was in the last lap. So I don't believe that this lap is going to be the passing lap either. And the reason, for those of you that missed the center section of the race, why we're into this situation here is because of the fact that Willem Boort had that incident. And with that incident that Willem Boort had, there you can see on the replay exactly how it plays itself out. He loses the back end, slides it to a hole. JJ van der Merwe goes diving up there past him, and JJ didn't lose any real time at that stage of the fight. So going back to real time, it's Luke Lacuzzi that leads them out. That is the onboard shot from Luke Lacuzzi. He's now got 6.5 seconds on the VIT entry of Leon van Wyk. Then we've got JJ van der Merwe also equidistant behind that. Look at that. That's the view from JJ van der Merwe. He's not going to be able to see the car of Leon van Wyk anymore unless something goes wrong up front. Willem Boort, he's got a whole bunch of free. That was applying the pressure. He's going to say to himself, well, use the pressure. There we go. Oh, that was the previous one with Willem Boort. And then we've got this incident. Yeah, he locked up. That's actually quite an interesting one. Let's have another look at that. He locked up the front end, not the back end. He locked up the front end on that situation. Let's just see if we can pick that up again. Yeah, it's the right hand front locks up, and it basically then takes away so much traction it overloads the left hand front, and then the whole nose just washes away. So Luke Lacuzzi, after 24 minutes, with 1 minute to go, it's Luke Lacuzzi. There is 7 minutes. 7 minutes. 7 seconds back to Leon van Wyk. There's another 7 seconds back to JJ van der Merwe. There is Gerald Fourie. Willem Boort. Sandro Bakari. And then Leonardo Bakari. But we got to go back to Luke Lacuzzi. What a lovely drive once again by Luke Lacuzzi. Brilliant stuff, I must say. Never put a foot wrong whatsoever. As he works his way through that last corner. Comes through the corner, and he will come through to take the checkered flag. A lovely shot there of that checkered flag. Well done, Luke Lacuzzi. And he puts up the fastest lap on his last lap as well. Beautiful drive. Leon van Wyk not to be done and dusted. Excellent drive by JJ. Man, oh man. JJ, well done on that one. Massive recovery from Gerald Fourie. He'll be looking to capitalize on race number 2, that is for sure. And behind that, Willem Boort, just that 1 or 2 spins here and there that's cost him pretty badly. Then Sandro Bakari. And then Leonardo Bakari, the other man coming through. towards the checkered flag. We haven't seen much of Leonardo at all this evening. So he comes second in the Grand Masters. And he comes through to take the checkered flag. So, having a look at the final results. Let's have a look, see how that one plays itself out. In the Grand Masters, it's Sandra Vicari with half a minute lead there on Leonardo Vicari. And if we look at the Masters, look easy, taking 7 seconds out of Leon van Wyk. Another 7.5 back to JJ van der Merwe. Great recovery by Gerald Ferry, arguably one of the quickest out there, barring Luke Lukizi. And then Willem Botha, those 2 mistakes costing him kind of dearly. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back to you with heat number 2. So for those of you who just arrived and you missed out on race number 1, we're just about at the end of our 3-minute warm-up session before we go into race number 2. We are at Navarra and we're doing battle in the Radical SR8. This is round number 1 for season 14, brought to you by Gary Gazer, the English division of Yo Stasi, and the lead man of Second Gear Talk Show, Second Gear Live, and Second Gear Productions. So we'll get everybody out there onto the circuit and let's see what those grid positions look like now on the invert. So it's going to be full invert. Oh, Leonardo Vicari and Sandro on the front row of the grid. Willem Botha and Gerald Ferry, JJ van der Merwe, Leon van Wyk and Luke Lukizi. My logic says to me, Sandro Vicari is going to take his opportunity because he can run very quick. Leonardo is going to hold on as long as he can. Gerald is going to have to capitulate on this one and make up for what he lost out in race number 1. So he's going to have to get going pretty quickly, get through ahead of Willem Botha before the likes of Leon van Wyk and Luke Lukizi come a-hunting for him. So, yeah, that's just my prediction. That's what I'm expecting to happen as they work their way around the last 2 corners. This is looking pretty good. Not a lot of cars, but with Luke Lekisi coming off the back of the pack with the being IT entry of Leon van Wyk. Oopsie, another 2 corners to go actually before they get going. Let's put up that track map and let's go for a battle box. Leonardo Victori's not waiting. He gets the hammer down before anybody else. Don't worry about the last corner. He says, let's just get going and trucking here. And Willem is the first one that gets to him. Willem goes up on that inside side. Here comes JJ van der Merwe. Let's hope that they all get through this first corner without any problems. It's JJ that's up on the inside of Sandro. And the 3 big hitters are at them. Oh, Willem goes wide. Yet another mistake. And Gerald Ferrie goes through. And Willem comes back and knocks up against JJ. That car has got damage off. So Willem Botha, desperate times, desperate measures. Leon van Wyk still sitting on that outside line and say, okay, Leonardo's now gone to the back of the pack. It's Sandro that's directly in front of him. And then, well, there's Luke Lekisi. Whoopsie, spinning it right around goes Sandro Bakari. And spinning is Willem Botha as well. And there goes Leonardo. Everybody battling there in that corner. So he manages to get it correct. But Gerald Ferrie, just as it went all wrong in race number 1, it's gone all right in race number 2 for Gerald Ferrie. Lots and lots of action. Here they come now. JJ with Leon. And now Luke Lekisi. Leon runs wide. Luke runs up the inside. Takes that away. It was like taking candy from a baby. He made that look so easy. Perfectly placed at that point. Leon trying to make sure that he doesn't make contact with the back of JJ. And in that is where the nose washed itself away. But Willem Botha has had a... Oh, he's gone into the pits as Willem Botha. Wow, that's an early one, Willem Botha. So he enters the pit lane. Meantime, it's Luke Lekisi that has made all the passing maneuvers so far. If you think about it, let's go back to the beginning. Luke Lekisi getting past Willem Botha. Luke Lekisi getting past Leon van Wyk. Luke Lekisi getting past JJ van der Merwe. That was the one that made the difference. So let's go back to the live. It's all about Gerald Ferrie, Luke Lekisi, JJ van der Merwe. Brilliant stuff. Oh, Leon battling with that front brakes. It's washed away the nose again. It was just a little bit too hard on the brakes. I know they did speak about how much back brakes to dial in before we went into this race. And they said if you got too much back brakes, it just flicks the back end away very, very quickly. So you've got to be uber duper careful to ensure that you don't have too much back brakes. And then you don't get the back end swapping ends with you. But having said that, you end up where Leon is now, where you get too hard on the front brakes and too long on the front brakes. It builds up temperature on those tires and then it just washes the nose away on the very last. And then you've got to do some massively quick reflection to be able to try and pick it up and not lose too much time. But Gerald Ferrie's not worried about all that. It's Gerald Ferrie, it's Luke Lekisi, it's JJ van der Merwe, it's Leon van Wyk, it is Sandro Bakari, it's Leonardo Bakari. And then having been in and out of the pits already is Willem Botha. Am I correct in that one? Yes, I am. So Willem Botha has been in and out, 22 seconds behind Leonardo, not too shabby. that'll work for him. And it looks like we've just had a change up there in position. Luke Lukizi that went off circuit. Let's just pick that one up. Luke Lukizi goes, oh, Luke Lukizi turns it right around. Gets it back onto the track. Was almost lost out there to Sandro as well. So Luke Lukizi has gone a long way back. Well, that's good for us from a potential of a hard charge. Luke Lukizi 7.3 seconds behind Leon van Wyk. Leon van Wyk all over the back end of JJ van der Merwe. So those two are pretty close. Look at that. Just drifting those cars around. 0.3 of a second. We've seen you've got to be literally that close when you go into the straight to have any opportunity of a passing maneuver. But it's so difficult to come out of that last more than 90-degree bend that lifts you up slight elevation as you come up onto the front main. To be that close. We saw how Gerald Ferry battled with that one. Lap for lap. He knew what he needed to do, but it's just so difficult to be close on the exit of that corner. 2 more to go. This is where he's got to be super duper close. Leon, if he wants to get to JJ. JJ's got it right. JJ got it right. He's got enough of a gap. Now you're going to see the same as what happened with Gerald Ferry. By the time you get close enough, you're into that second right-hander. In fact, this time, it's not even going to be that close because JJ did a perfect job of coming out of that corner. Only now do you get onto the back bumper. No matter how hard you run that double right-hander, it's just not going to work for you if you're not closer. So, alright, most of the guys will have realized that to pass in the front main is not really an option. You've got to go into these tight sections and try and make it work here. Remember, the closer you are, the more you lose downforce, the more difficult it makes it. You see Gerald Ferry, the leader, has just gone through. We're watching JJ van der Merwe and Leon van Wyk, and you see in the background the Momo entry 6.1 seconds further back of Luke Lukizi. Can Luke Lukizi in 12 laps catch these two? Very possible, yes. Can JJ hold out and Leon van Wyk for another 12 laps? It's going to be a hard fought battle. JJ is going to be like he's been... don't get involved in the fight. Go into the pits. Always the tactical driver. Leon van Wyk says, okay, I'm not being able to get past. Let me rather duck into the pits and make use of this opportunity. There comes Luke Lukizi. As Luke Lukizi comes through, there is Leon van Wyk, and Luke Lukizi has come through. Now, Sandro Bakari is not that far from there either. There's Sandro Bakari. Leon van Wyk is in the pits. Sandro Bakari has come past. Leonardo Bakari coming through, and there comes Leon van Wyk. Now, the main thing is that Leon van Wyk finds himself ahead of Willem Botha by a noticeable chunk of time. Willem Botha is 9 seconds back. Well, carrying the pace from that straight, he's closed it down to 9.3. So Willem on one hell of a charge to close that gap down. So in real terms, the man that's been in and out of the pits and leads out those that have been in and out of the pits is Leon van Wyk. Now he's got 4.5 seconds of open space in front of him before he gets to Leonardo. Alright, having said that, Gerald Ferry, open ground in front of him, no problem whatsoever. Nobody anywhere near him. So there's no reason for Gerald to go into the pits at this stage of the fight. He can just as well, a 132.1, not too bad. What about JJ? A 132.5, 4/10. Oh, look easy. 32 what? 31.86. Look easy on the charge. Sandra Bakari goes through in a 134. Leonardo goes through in a 136. Frequent flyer Leon van Wyk also in a 136, but remember he was in and out of the pits, so that will not exactly be a correct reflection. And a 132.8, which is the same pace that pretty much everybody and anybody is getting out there. As we keep an eye on Gerald Fourie, slowly but surely trying to eke away. He's got 4.6 on JJ. There's JJ in the background. JJ's got 4.4 on Luke. JJ goes into the pits. JJ van der Merwe into the pits. Let's go through this horrific slow piece of track for him. Just listen to it. It's idling along there in first gear. There's nothing you can do. JJ goes and stops. And coming in behind him is a second vehicle. Nope, not. I thought there was somebody else that was going to come in. Was Sandro Bakari. Yeah, there Sandro Bakari was just coming into the pits and on his way out. There Sandro Bakari comes in as JJ goes out. And JJ is ahead of Leon van Wyk. JJ van der Merwe is ahead of Leon van Wyk. Now, barring Gerald Fourie and Luke Lekizi, this is first and second out on circuit after the pit stops. That's kind of amazing. JJ van der Merwe, although JJ's 25 seconds behind Luke, and Gerald is ahead of that as well. So if we look at the pit lane time, 35 seconds, 37 seconds, 40 seconds. That makes for some interesting reading. Who's put up the fastest speeds overall? JJ van der Merwe on a 2:37. 2:35 by Willem and Leonardo. That's one of straight line speeds. Interesting. Oh, into the pits comes Gerald Fourie. Gerald Fourie's in and he's about to take off. There's Gerald, there's JJ and Leon in the background. There's Gerald Fourie. Oh, this is going to be pretty close. Luke Lekizi's probably going to end up in that fourth position because Leon van Wyk has gone through. JJ van der Merwe has gone through. And Luke Lekizi is going to have to hope that these guys hold one another up just a smidgen. There you can see the purple one that was coming through in the background. That was Willem Botha. As we keep an eye on this massive titanic struggle that's going down. Leon has a look for that inside line on JJ and he works his way through. Well, while we are watching Leon van Wyk and JJ van der Merwe swapping positions, we don't want to put the fear in them of what's happening behind, but they will probably be aware that Luke Lekizi, he be a closing from behind. So Leon van Wyk had to make the move. He knew that Luke Lekizi's coming. He had to make the move. He pushed it as hard as he could, stuck it in here, stuck it in there, eventually got in just a meter deeper and that forced JJ to do the gentlemanly thing and ensure that he doesn't make contact. And with that, now there is a bit of a gap. So Luklukizi is now looking a 133.9, a 136 for Luklukizi. So Luke is going to have to turn up the wick big time if he's going to catch up to JJ van der Merwe, who is on a brilliant first night of racing of season 14 of Sports and GT. Ooh, there was a four-wheel drift. You could hear his tires as they were sliding. Oopsie, picks up the back end. Lap 10 of 17. JJ van der Merwe is in real terms stretching the legs of Luklukizi. Luke is right there, as quick and as hard and as light on the brakes and as light on the apex and as smooth as he can on the gas. Change of direction, use that green curbing, just miss the grass, go for the late apex, boot it nice and hard, nice and early, make sure that he gets in there. JJ's holding on. It's going to be great to see what the lap times are when they go across the start finish line now. Gerald a 32, Leon a 31.8, a 33 dead, and a 32.4, 6 tenths. Luklukizi 6 tenths, but there's only 5 and a bit laps to go, 5 and 2/3 laps to go. 6 tenths, well, you can get onto the back of JJ, but look how long it took for Leon in a Radical SR8 on this Navarra circuit to get past JJ without making any form of contact and messing up the other person's race. Luklukizi could be in for a same and similar situation. Now, having a look at those last laps, Leon did a 131.8, JJ a 133. So did JJ close on Leon in the last lap? No, Leon carrying on doing what he's doing. I don't believe he's going to be able to catch Gerald unless Gerald makes a mistake. Gerald doesn't very easily make mistakes at all. Once he gets to the front and he gets into, maybe when he's in the pack, yes, but once he gets to the front and he's got his rhythm, nah, you don't see Gerald Ferree go off the track from there on out. Once he heads out, that's it. Up, dust, disappear. You don't find him. He'll go millimeter perfect, lap for lap. Just couldn't get on the gas quick enough there. Luklukizi, 6 tenths of a second. A 32 by Gerald, a 31. But well, Leon's actually closing on Gerald at the moment. Now Luke is closing up. He's taken another 7 tenths out of JJ van der Merwe, but we're on lap 12 already. Is there going to be enough time? Is there enough laps? Is there the slightest error that JJ closes that inside line? So is that red Momo car? That got to be that Luklukizi guy. Whoopsie, a bit of connectivity problems there as he flashes off the screen momentarily. Luklukizi knows that JJ is 2.5 seconds behind Leon, so it's not impossible, but it is rather unlikely that Luklukizi is going to go any further forward other than maybe getting past JJ. But JJ doing what he's doing, even Luklukizi is going to battle to get through. If he can stick his nose up, JJ will do the gentlemanly thing and give him the necessary space. But you first got to get close enough. You first got to stick your nose in before JJ is going to give you the rest of it. That's the closest. That is the closest I've seen so far for a possible passing maneuver. Up the front main they go. There's those two right-handers and then the tight right-hander Will he be close enough for the second right-hander? He puts it up on that inside line, climbs right over the curbstone to make sure that he doesn't make any contact, and look, Lucchese goes through. Now I'd actually like to have another look at that, where you can see he sticks it up, tones it nice and close. JJ gives him the necessary space, and they both go through somewhat undeterred with that one. So far so good. So let's have a look at the front end. Gerald Ferry, from Leon, from Luke, from JJ, Willem coming out into that self-same piece of track, just unsighted of the gents in front of him. Leonardo and Sandra, nothing much between the two of them. They're within a half a second between the two of them. We are lap 13. We're 20 minutes, 26 seconds into it. Gonna try and check it out to see what he can do. Is anybody going to make any mistakes up front? Get it deep into the grass, pointing in the wrong direction. Take an extensive period of time to try and rectify it and get back onto the circuit. Who knows? Gerald Ferry, 32-1. Leon, 33-3. Luke, 51. 0.48. So Luke Lucchese's on the move. Luke Lucchese on a 131.4. Now Gerald Ferry luckily has got himself literally 5 seconds. Otherwise you'd have to worry a bit, because Luke is taking close to half a second a lap out of him. But knowing Gerald Ferry, I think he's just taking it nice and calm, making sure there's no mistakes or errors. Divide the gap into the number of laps. Make sure that you don't make any mistakes. Force everybody else to ride 11 tenths while you ride 9 tenths. That you don't make any mistakes. And that's how Gerald Ferry wins races. Do enough. Nothing flashy. Nothing fancy. Keep it on the island. Keep it nice and smooth. And that is exactly what he's doing right now. Leon van Wyk not being able to catch him at all at this stage of the fight. The fastest lap for this race has been Luke Lucchese on a 131.41. Did I miss something? Luke Lucchese. Drives on the gas just a little bit too quickly. JJ van der Merwe says, hello, I'll take that spot from you. Willem Botha, I think he's jumped to the pits. He's now on his way out of the pits. There's Willem Botha. Gerald Ferry from Leon van Wyk, from JJ, then Luke Lucchese, the Grandmaster Sandro Beccari just yet ahead of Leonardo Beccari, and then we've lost out on Willem Botha. I don't think that we can pick up Willem at the moment. I think he's lost connectivity right now, to be honest with you. And that must be the white flag that's come out for Gerald. 123.57. Yep, so he must be on the white flag. Gerald Ferry hasn't exactly managed to get rid of Leon van Wyk. Leon van Wyk has held on pretty sneakily, no problem at all. Gerald Furry not having a great session in race number 1, faultless in race number 2. As we watch him on his last lap into the left-hander, another 90-degree left-hander. The previous one was more than 90, was about 100 degrees. Very, very sharp right-hander through the kink into the last corner. Gerald Furry takes a belated victory from Leon van Wyk in the Being IT entry. JJ just ahead of Luke Lucchese after Luke made that error. Sandro Beccari trying his best to stay ahead of Leonardo Beccari. The two super seniors, literally nose to tail. We did lose out on Willem Botha, so probably a connectivity problem there for him, because it was going all quite fine up until then. Taking those last few corners. Leads it through nice and neatly. Not making any mistakes. Sandro, if he makes the slightest error, Leonardo will take that position away from him. As they come up towards the checkered flag, literally side by side. Oh, Sandro Beccari. Ooh, is it? Yes, Sandro Beccari just beat out there by literally thousands of a second on Leonardo Beccari. That was very, very close. Man, oh man. Well, not a lot of cars, but I tell you what, the racing was pretty awesome. That is for sure. So, heat number 1 was Luke from Leon, JJ, Gerald, and Willem. Then, Gerald Furry turns it upside down. He says, cheers and good night, boys. He goes for the win and does it convincingly ahead of Leon, JJ, Luke, and then Willem Botha. Now, looking at those results, I'm actually, even though it's 2 third places, I'm going to give driver of the day to JJ van der Merwe. I'm going to give super spinner to Willem Botha. And I'm going to give hardest charger to Gerald Furry, because when he's on the charge, he is awesome stuff. And that's pretty much how that plays itself out. If we look at the Grandmasters, was Sandro Beccari from Leonardo. And if we look at their race number 1, same and similar, Sandro Beccari from Leonardo Beccari. That's how that one plays itself out. So if we have a look at the overall in the feature race, that is how it came out. And the race driver SA Esports entry of Willem Botha having connectivity problems and not being able to make it through there until the end. Well, folks, that wraps it up from my side. Gary Fleming from Second Gear Productions. I hope you enjoyed that little race. We will have a whole bunch, probably 6, 7, 8 more car driver combinations that's going to be joining us next week when the guys are finished with the Samola Hill Climb, and we look forward to having a full field next week, Wednesday. Same time, same place, season number 14, round number 2. Where will it be? I've got no idea. Join in next week and find out. Cheers, everybody.